Hi, it's Mike from Mike's Carburetor Parts here. We get questions quite often on something like my engine runs good all day long. I let it set overnight, I get in it in the morning and will not start unless I pour some gas down the carburetor. So I thought I'd do a quick video on some of the things you can look for. Okay, we'll get started in just a second.
Why did you buy your carburetor kit from Mike's Carburetor Parts?
Because when I run into a problem, Mike's is there to help with technical information. Nobody else does that.
Okay, the first thing you want to do is make sure the choke is working. So when it's cold in the morning, you should be able to press on the gas a little bit. You have to do that to release the choke. It might be on fast idle or something. Anyhow, the choke should be closed. Okay, if it's not, check your thermostat. You might have a bad thermostat, or the linkage is wrong, or something like that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is look down your carburetor and get this a little closer here. Hopefully you can see it. And stomp on the gas, and you should see gas squirt out of these two tubes right here. Should be a pretty good strong squirt. So when the engine is cold, it needs to be enriched in order to start. And so one way to do it is for the choke to close. Also, you're going to get a little extra gas in through the main discharge, which is done by the auxiliary pump right here. Okay, so if you don't see the squirts, then you got a problem with the auxiliary pump circuit. One thing to think about now is, does it hesitate after the engine is warmed up? If it does hesitate, then you're probably right in looking at the auxiliary pump circuit, not necessarily the pump itself. People are pretty quick to just replace the pump, but there's passages that go to the main discharge that could be plugged up. Okay, so let's start by, let's take the top off, and so I got to undo all this linkage right here. Okay, so there we go. So a couple of things before I start. For one thing, this video doesn't address any ignition problems. Okay, most engine problems are from the ignition. So, but we're not going to go into that at all. That's not my realm of expertise necessarily. So here we go. So we don't see any squirts. So we got a problem with the gas. The bowl's empty, or something's wrong with the auxiliary pump circuit. Now, let's talk about if it siphoned all the gas out overnight. That could happen. A couple of ways for that to happen. You came in the engine's really hot, you put it in the garage, turn it off. Right away, the engine heats up. That's usually what happens when you first turn it off. The engine heats up. There's no fan or anything trying to cool it off. So the gas will boil. It's called percolation. The gas will actually boil out of the carburetor. So that's one thing that can happen. Now, there's not much you can do to the carburetor for that. There's you know, check your fan, your thermostat, all that kind of stuff. You're just running too hot maybe. All right, so the other thing is your gas cap vented. If you put on the wrong cap and it's non-vented, it's going to cause a vacuum out of the gas tank, and it's going to suck the gas out of the carburetor. The other possibility, long shot, fuel pump. Put a vacuum gauge on the front of the fuel pump from the gas tank to the pump, and crank it and see if you get vacuum. Test the fuel pump. But chances are, if you've been running and when it's hot, then probably the fuel pump is way far out there. Wouldn't worry about that too much. But if there's no gas in the carburetor, it could be the fuel pump. Test it for pressure. Probably 4.5, 5 pounds maybe. Okay, on this one. So, discharge. This is the main discharge here. We're not getting gas, so we're going to check this. I'm kind of all over the place because it kind of depends on what you're experiencing. Runs fine when it's hot, just can't get it started without putting gas in it, and that's what I'm kind of focused on right here. Okay, and don't forget there's a gasket on here. Check it. It shouldn't be folded up any. Needs to set flat. If it doesn't fit flat, you know, sand off the edges or something so that it does. Sometimes they're made a little bit too big. There's a check weight right in here. Right there. Get this spring over here out. There's your check weight. So this is the exhaust check weight. You can see it's pointed. A lot of carburetors will have a check ball and then just a rectangular check weight. Well, this one uses the pointed end in place of a check ball. It could be this not sealing here. Now what this does is when you pump on gas, it puts pressure from the auxiliary pump over here to the main discharge. The gas runs over here. The pressure will raise this check ball a little bit and allow the gas to flow through. Okay, that's what that's all about. Now, if it's not seating good in there, then what you could have, you stop, it could be siphoning gas through there. Another way to tell if that's happening is to run the engine, stop, take the air cleaner off, look down the engine here when you're stopped, and see if you see any gas dribbling out here. If you do, then it's siphoning out. Okay, another thing to do is at idle. When you're sitting there idling, that could be happening. You can't have any gas dribbling out there unless you're stepping on the gas. Okay, so that's one way to determine whether that's happening or not. Now, if you're wondering about the Cellar pump circuit, one thing you can do is put some mineral spirits in here in the well. You'll have to put some in here too. You also have an inlet check ball here. Right here, that comes out. There's a little check ball in there. Just make sure that's super clean. Anyway, put the pump in here, and let's see. Let me get it out. Okay, so you put some mineral spirits in there. Now this well is tapered. You see it's pretty sloppy at the top. Gets tight when it gets down at the bottom. First of all, yeah. So you got gas in here. Push down on this. You should see a little bit of squirt of gas out of here. If not, you maybe have a blockage from here over to here, and there's a little hole at the bottom, just up from the side a little bit. That's your exhaust, or that's what it ends up going over here. So one thing you can do is, you gotta take this back off here. If you can get down that hole, Okay, so you want to check and make sure this passage is clear. So get you some spray brake cleaner. And incidentally, when you're testing with this stuff, wear your goggles and keep a shield in front of you, because I've splashed myself in the face with this, and that is no fun. So if you squirt down in there, okay, I can see it coming out here. So there you know you have a good clean circuit. So that's it for that. If you know about some of these tests, it makes life a lot easier. Okay. So there you go. This discharge thing, when you don't see gas, when you're pumping all that, is a very common problem. It's very common in the not to start in the morning because of that, because you need that auxiliary pump to squirt in a little extra gas. So check your choke, check for all the gas streams coming out of here, and off you go. Okay, so we have quite a few videos on the AFB, so take a look at those. They might be helpful. And you can get parts for this at mikescarb.com, MIKESCARB.com. I really thank you for watching.